Podcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone, and happy pre-Friday. We've got great weather going on here in Chicago, and hopefully a lot of the snow that you have and I have will melt very soon. We're here happy again to be here with you, and thank you for all of you who are on. Right now, there's about 105 attendees, so we thank you for giving up time out of your very busy schedule to be here with us today. We've got multiple people here in the division that are going to be spending time talking to you today on various topics. And of course, at the end, there'll be opportunities for questions and answers. I'm going to say right now that I do have a meeting conflict with our CCUO board, so I am going to exit the meeting a little early, but I'm going to leave it in the trusted hands of Tiffany Junkins and Latasha White, our two managers. So with that, I'm just going to go ahead and get us started. So thanks again for joining. Next slide, Tom. And so as you can see, we've got, an introductory slide here, and what we're going to be going over, we've got some updates for you. Want to talk again about enrollment because it's one of those topics that we do need to continue to talk about as we move forward. We're going to talk a little bit about FA1. We do have a COLA coming up, and then we'll talk about expenditures. So again, thanks everyone. Next slide. So some updates for you, and I know most of you, if not all, have already received notification that our very, very illustrious Commissioner Lisa Morrison Butler has resigned, and actually tomorrow will be her last day here at DFSS. And I know she sent out a message to everyone, and I know she's received some responses. And so again, just wanting everyone to know that, as in all businesses in seamless transitions right now, Brandy Kanazi is the interim, while the mayor's office makes its decisions on that particular position. But we do have a system in place with a transition plan. We have been working with the mayor's office so that there's no gaps in work or services here in DFSS. But again, I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows who is the interim here at DFSS in the interim, and we can definitely get out contact information. One of the other things that I want to talk a little bit about, we have an early childhood block grant, which is PFA and PI. And one of the things that we are aware of, and I know our teams have been working with sites, but what we do have are still gaps in data entry. And so I talked to the team, and we'll be talking to the team again at 1 o'clock regarding my concerns and the funders' concerns around that data entry and making sure that all children are in. But not all children are in the system right now. I'm going to say we know that. We also know that children who are in the system, not all of the required data entry points or elements are in the system for them. And so I know the team spends a lot of time going back and forth and working with your teams, trying to make sure that everything that needs to be in COPA on your PFA, PI families are in there. So we're going to do some more work from DFSS's side in working with our delegates so that we can get past this. One of the things I want you to know is when we don't have all of the information in on children, and or if we don't have EIEN numbers on your professional educators that are in your classrooms on that contract, that becomes a contract issue because again, we can't claim those children. ISBE looks at those reports and makes some determinants that those children in those classrooms cannot be included. Those are contract and funding issues, and we've got to get beyond this right away. We've got to be able to make sure that every child is counted, that's being served, and every teacher that's in the classroom, that their credentials and everything is in the system so that they're accountable as well. So we are not losing classrooms in our reporting. We're not losing children in our reporting. And when I say contract issues, as I'm sure you are fully aware, when you're getting funded, it is for a specific number of children in a specific number of classrooms. But when we don't have data entry, then they're not reported. What that means over time is we're looking at funding gaps. And I don't want funding gaps to hit you on the ground. So we're going to be working feverishly with you to get beyond what we see as a critical issue here. And, in trainings, whatever we need to do as far as making sure that all the information that needs to be in COPA is in COPA so that every child is counted and every classroom is counted moving forward. We have got to move past this, and this is the goal, is to get us past this pain point with our current ECBG grant. So more to come. I just wanted to give you an update on that, letting you know that there's going to be work that we have to do, but there's also going to be work on your end if you are still struggling with getting all of your children into the system. The other thing I do want to announce, and we've had a transition at the helm between our presidents, and so President Biden coming into the office also meant that there's a transition at the Office of Head Start in DC. And so I just wanted to make sure that you're aware of who our new director of Head Start is Dr. Bernadine Futrell, and she comes to the Office of Head Start from the National Head Start Association. The other thing I will also add in that conversation, and some of you did see some of the notifications that came out, Dr. B, our doctor that was with us in the Office of Head Start, she's now with the National Head Start Association. So they kind of cross paths in their work between those two individuals. But our new director of the Office of Head Start is Dr. Bernadine Futrell. And so again, kudos to her, and we're very, very happy that that position has been filled. There's vaccine rollouts that's going out, and it's including Chicago Early Learning, prenatal programs to children age 5. And so one of the things that I'm hoping is that individuals have, when Chicago Department of Public Health was letting everyone know that there's a website where you can go onto that website and actually put in about your sites and number of staff that you have to make sure that they can get on that list to get their vaccinations. And I know that there's some work that's being done in the city of Chicago as well. And Belmont Cragen, for example, there's a site there because we do have some very, very hard hit areas in Chicago. And I know the mayor's office has been working diligently to get some of these rollouts in some of the hardest hit communities. And we thank them for their work in that, in making sure that people have access right there on the ground in their communities to get their vaccines. But again, there's a lot of information that we've been sending out in the CSE update, trying to keep people up on information that we're receiving regarding vaccine rollouts, and we'll continue to do that as we go through this. Next slide. So I'm going to turn it over to Tiffany and let her start on some of the items that are here on this slide. Thanks. Tiffany?
Thank you, Rachel. Hi, executive directors, program directors. I'm going to actually turn it over to Latasha, and she's going to go ahead and give an update, her and her team.
Yep, that's us. Hi, everyone. Again, I'm Latasha White, the new manager of Family Support Programs. I wanted to just update you guys on a few things that we've been working on here. I'm going to start with Elaine, who will be talking about the TSG color bands funding source corrections that we've been communicating with you guys on. So, Elaine, do you want to jump in right here? Does she have any audio? How about you, B?
Good morning, everyone. Thanks, Latasha. Well, I believe Latasha and Saray both gave a great lead into this conversation when Sarayful talked about the ECB grant and the work that needs to be done around color bands. As Latasha mentioned, our education support service coordinators have been reaching out to you, and they have been assisting your staff with getting the information into COPA and making the updates under the checkpoint settings. So please continue to work with them as they reach out to you and get this information in. It is very vital that we do this and prioritize this work. Back to you, Latasha.
Okay, wonderful. And I think that that is going to really tie in with the ECBG data fields. And just, I think we were repeating these topics and really trying to communicate with you guys, our team. And I think that what we need to do is really just follow up. And so what you'll see in the next few weeks is just that, us following up. So please know that we are stalking you guys to get this information corrected, because we cannot present bad data, right? So all of this information helps us to be better stewards over our funding, better create better services, and really support you guys better. So we need to make sure that we're making these corrections in the data fields and making these corrections with, teaching strategies gold. And so that's part of the work that you will see, a flurry of activity going on now. It is our major focus. Of course, there's more work to do, but right now our team is really, really following up on how do we get this information fixed, how do we do it quickly, and we really need your cooperation and your support in this process. So now I'm gonna go to Teachstone trainings, and I'm going to ask for William to jump in right here.
Thank you, Latasha. Good morning, Chicago. William Hill, Assistant Director for our Program Development and Quality Unit. And as Latasha mentioned, I'm here to speak to you about our ongoing Teachstone training opportunities. As we shared in a couple of weeks, previous weeks prior, we had a training pep rally in which we met with many delegates across the city to discuss these opportunities. And we proud to announce we saw a 60% leap in our registrations. And so this is our last minute push to really to speak to you as executive directors and program directors to really support your leaders and your teachers in your programs to take advantage of this opportunity. As was mentioned in that meeting, this is our only coaching model that we have for this program year. And as you know, coaching is inevitable in this work that we do as we look to improve and drive quality for our leaders and our teachers. We still have room for leaders in our class master coaching, our continued leading consultations, as well as our class observation trainings. Also for our teachers, we're looking to still fill some of our cohort opportunities for our class group coaching. Again, those are cohorts. You have them broke down by age for pre-K and then infantiles as well. Also with our class one-on-one video coaching. Those are one-on-one coachings for teachers. Teachers get a My Teachstone partner coach, and they're able to work one-on-one with their coaches. So again, there's still room, there's still time. So we urge you to work with your leaders and your teachers to get them enrolled. Also, Latasha, give me one more second. I would like to give a major shout out to one of our delegate agencies, Christopher House, who have at this point in time registered over 30 teachers for advanced and/or foundational works within Teachstone. So we appreciate that collaboration, and we appreciate everyone's efforts as we look to offer high quality early education across the city of Chicago. Thank you.
Thank you, William. And I don't want for us to be misled. There is still time, but time is running out, y'all. So we need you guys to register as quickly as possible for those trainings. And then the last thing that I want to talk about is a new learning series. And I really want to introduce a dialogue with you guys. And I really want to know, leading and organizing is a different type of experience or job in its entirety. And we're going to be doing some new learning series, and I want to make them brief learning series that are targeted towards your specific needs. And so I need to hear back from you guys. I want to know, what are the barriers? What are we doing right? What else do you need to know about? Is there anything that we're able to support you better on, and we will make that happen. Right now, we're going through a lot of different system changes and, again, trying to target what areas that we need to support you guys better. So if you guys have any thoughts about this, please feel free to email me and let me know. Right now, we're beginning to brainstorm, and we'd love for you to be our thought partners on this. So my email is latasha.white@cityofchicago.org. Please feel free to reach out to me. Maybe a lot of you probably have my cell phone number as well from T-Stone Trainings. You can text me or call me, but I need to hear from you guys because we really do take our direction from you guys and what you need. So I want you guys to be a part of this conversation as we're developing these short, brief learning series that will help you guys to do your work better and help us to collaborate in a more efficient way. So thank you guys so much. I'm going to turn it back over to Tiffany. And it was a pleasure being here with you guys today.
Very informative. Thank you, Latasha. Next slide. So last month, when we came to you guys, we did talk about the Focus Area 1 monitoring visits for our Head Start funded programs. As you guys know, the federal government, they started doing focus area monitoring reviews in November of 2020. We understand that the City of Chicago will be reviewed under Focus Area 1, and it would be mainly a virtual review. We will be focusing on health and safety concerns. At this point, we did mention we will give you information as soon as we get it. We have not received our 45-day notice yet from the Office of Head Start, letting us know when that review will be. But as soon as we get the communication, we will not hesitate to make sure that we're sharing that information with you, as quickly as possible. My deputy commissioner, she often talks about the preparation that it takes for a focus area visit, whether it's Focus Area 1 or Focus Area 2, or a triennial review is, if we've been doing everything that we need to do all year long, then, there's not a whole lot of preparation that has to go into it because these are standard operating procedures and we're moving forward in the right direction in order to get us there. So hopefully you're talking with your staff and you've taken a look at the focus area monitoring information that has been provided. So that way you know what your responsibility is. We understand as a grantee, we're going to be monitored whenever that happens. We also incorporate, or they incorporate, our delegate agencies as well. And so we just want to make sure that everybody has had an opportunity to know what their expectations are, making sure that you're reading the Focus Area 1 information that was provided by the Office of Head Start. If you're in need of that information, definitely reach out and let me know. But we want to make sure that this is going to be it will be an inclusive process. And so we really want to make sure that you guys know when it's coming, and so that we can definitely be prepared for the actual virtual review. Next
Tiffany,
slide.
let me just, I'm going to have to jump. That's okay. I'm still here. I'm going to leave in just a minute for my other meeting. But I just wanted to chime in really, really quickly. I know we have some new funded agencies out there who've not been through a monitoring visit at all. And so do know that we're scheduling meetings so that everyone can become much more familiar about what it is we're talking about, so that we can go and walk through the focus tools so that you can understand exactly what it is that they will be looking for as far as documentation. And we'll be supporting you through this over the next weeks by doing that with you. So just know that you will be getting some scheduled dates that'll come out from DFSS, and they will be on Focus Area 1. Again, to Tiffany's point, if you've been doing your work and getting your policies, procedures, and all of these different things and working with your governance structure, if you've been doing all of that, you've been doing the work. What we want to do is just give you some additional information and help you think about organizing everything that you have so that you can be much more prepared in case there's an ask of documents from you, so that you can quickly send those to us. And if in the example of the FA2, they were asking for delegates to be interviewed. And so if they're asking for that, we just want to be able to go over some of that information with you as well. We do know that they will want to interview PPC members. And so just, again, putting that in your mindset, if your members at PPC, just getting that information out there, and just know we'll be working with them as well. So thanks again for all the work that you're doing. We can't thank you enough. I can't thank you enough for everything that you're doing with and for every family that you serve every day, and how you are definitely being very, very mindful, taking care of yourselves and your staffs as well. So thanks, everyone. I'm going to turn it back over to Tiffany.
Thank you so much, Loretto. And I just wanted to go ahead and put out a reminder. My deputy commissioner had mentioned it before, but I just wanted to reiterate that there will not be a class review. And that's mainly due to health and safety with the pandemic. The federal government does not want to send class observers out to go ahead and monitor in classrooms. And so it's for health and safety reasons. So there will be no class review. But we will have a focus area 1 monitoring visit, and we do expect for that information to happen virtually. So, all right, next slide. All right, so we wanted to take a look at enrollment. As we've done in the past, we like to go ahead and kind of remind everybody pre-COVID-19, prior to the pandemic, what our enrollment was looking like. As you guys could see across the board, that we were under-enrolled prior to the pandemic, but we also included year-over-year data so that you can understand at one point we definitely were fully enrolled in our programs. We definitely want to get back to that point. So the very first table is really showing you the funded slots across all programs. We made sure we broke it out this time so that you could see PI center-based and also PI home-based separately. And we wanted you to just to have a glance then at what we fund, the funded slots that we have out there in communities that you serve, right, at all of our delegate agencies. These are the combined slots, the funded slots rather. And for Head Start, as you guys could see, the enrollment as of today, we're low. We're at 62% enrolled in our Head Start program. And I know we've mentioned this before. Some of it is definitely a discrepancy with our 2019 RFP. The capacity that we planned on serving in Head Start was 7,404 slots. But what you see here is 9,274 because that is what our funder wants to fund us for. That is not necessarily what we requested. And so there's been a discrepancy regarding the Head Start numbers. Either way, even if it is at the proposed number that we provided, which was 7,404, we're still under enrolled in our Head Start program. And so I just wanted to make sure that we're calling out really every program that we have is under enrolled except our PI home visiting program. So home base for PI is fully enrolled, but all the other programs are highlighted in red just so that you could see we're not there yet. And so that's across the board. Our PFA numbers, you can see we're at 78% enrolled. PI center base, we're at 72% enrolled. Early Head Start, we're at 88% enrolled. Early Head Start Child Care Partnership, we're at 71%. And the Early Head Start Expansion Grant, that is our smaller grant, and it's 84% enrolled. And so, you know, this is where we are. I know that a lot of this is attributed to the pandemic. At the same time, I just want to make sure that, you know, we're still continuing to identify vulnerable families in our community. And we want, you know, all of our communities to know that we are serving children, where we're serving them remotely, but we're also serving them face-to-face in those appropriate options. And so, you know, a part of our responsibility is to make sure that if someone needs our services, that we're keeping that door open and letting them know what options they have in front of them to be able to be served in our programs. As you guys see, we have some room. And so we want to make sure that we're continuing to, you know, get the most vulnerable families who need our services enrolled. Next slide. So the CARES Act funds, and this was for our Head Start funded program. So Head Start, Early Head Start, CCP, and also expansion. We did apply for a no-cost extension. Just wanted to let you know there's no update yet from the regional office, so we are waiting to see if we're going to actually get that no-cost extension. As you guys know, that particular those grant funds actually ended November the 30th, 2020, and at this point we have not gotten approval to go ahead and issue contracts for the remainder of those funds with our delegates. That is our plan, though, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to do that. But at this point, the approval from Region 5 is still pending, and so I just wanted to let you guys know that we didn't forget about that. Another administrative update that's not here, I just wanted to mention that all the GEARS contracts that we have, they have been sent out, and the effective date for GEARS is going to be July 1, 2021, and it's going to go through June 30th, 2021. And so I did want to go ahead and make a correction regarding the GEARS funds. The GEARS funds were only sent to those agencies within those 29 zip codes that we published in the CSD update. However, I just want to let you know that that's only applicable to our center-based operations because of the administrative overhead that's attached to those programs. Not to say our home visiting programs don't need support either. And so what I'm going to ask for my home visiting programs to do, if you're in need of PPE, if there's some supplies that you need that we can help assist you with, please reach out to me, tiffany.junkins@cityofchicago.org. Again, that's tiffany.junkins@cityofchicago.org. If our home visiting programs need some support, I just want to make sure that we're going to make ourselves available to give you that. Even though for the GEARS contracts, that was from the governor's office through ISB, through CPS, through us, and it was only for the 29 zip codes that they identified as being most in need. Due to the high rate of COVID-19 cases in those areas, hospitalizations, and so forth. So based on data, they identified 29 zip codes for the city of Chicago. And so outside of that, folks didn't get the GEARS contract. And also, again, site-based programs received awards and not home-based. So if you're a home-based program, reach out to me if you need some PPE. We'll be more than happy to go ahead and order it on your behalf. Wanted to have you take a look at our expenditure rates across the programs. And so if you kind of hone into the first two programs, Head Start and Early Head Start, I wanted to add the period just so that folks understand that our Head Start program and Early Head Start program, it ends June 30th. Your contracts end June 30th, 2021. That's a reminder to all. I know we have executed agreements. I know you guys know that when we sign on the dotted line, but we're so used to getting a 12-month award. These were not 12-month awards. They were prorated for 7 months. That's important, right? Because the funding attached to them is also prorated. Just wanted to let you know that, they end in a few months. So it ends June 30th. The reason why I wanted you to see this here, the expenditure rates, because they are low at this point. And so I'm asking for agencies to take a look. This is a very global view that you could see kind of across all of our funding streams. You can see what we're funded for, and you can also see what we've expended to date. I wanted to show you this because we're under expended across the board. So not just any one program, right? But this is to let you know that we need, in order to keep your cash flow going, we need you to voucher. We need you to voucher. And if you haven't received, a response from us via vouchering, our finance team is always willing to help. We're always willing to help. And so if you have any questions about, any vouchers that you may have in the system that haven't been processed, and it's been over 30 days, please let me know. I'd be more than happy to talk to you, more than happy to see what I can do and check in on the status of any pending invoices. But based on this look right here, we're not in a good place at this point regarding expenditures. And so I really want to make sure that you're talking with your program staff, talking to your finance staff, because we really need you to voucher. We really need you to invoice us. That way we can go ahead and reimburse you. All of this works off a reimbursement process. And so we want to make sure that you have the cash flow that you need in order to keep servicing children and families. So one of the things I wanted to highlight about, the Head Start and Early Head Start, as you guys know, I've already mentioned June 30th is the day that the program ends. And we're going to be putting out some written guidance. But before I do that, I just wanted to kind of give you the 411, right? As we're getting ready to kind of end that grant, it's going to end the grant, right? It's not a continuation grant. So this is going to be the end of the actual grant number for us. And so as a part of that, we have some closeout procedures that we have to do. That means, tracking any inventory that may be associated with it, whether it's equipment, whether it's supplies, any unutilized supplies. We have the responsibility to make sure that anything that was purchased with Head Start dollars, that we're able to be accountable for it. And so if there's going to be salvage left over from supplies and things like that, but we're trying to ask you at this particular point, to project out. If you know that you need to go ahead and place an order for supplies to go ahead and carry your programs through June and June only, right? We can't do a stockpile, but if you have the need to go ahead and place those supply orders, we're asking for you to do it sooner than later. And, some things are just a necessity. If you need to buy diapers and things like that, we get that. But in preparation for this grant ending, what we don't want folks to do is to go ahead and make these big purchases, in May and June, when we know that the program is actually ending. And we've made these big purchases and, the delivery hasn't made it. It doesn't benefit the children in the program. We want to make sure that we're avoiding, those audit kind of nightmares, so to speak, because, buying supplies at the last minute and not being able to show that it was effectively utilized within your program would be a problem. And so by all means, plan. We need you to plan. We need you to be able to move it forward. Supplies, go ahead and project out what you're going to need through June. I would say start placing your orders. We're going to be putting out some written guidance, but I just wanted to at least say that to you, that we know that the program is ending and we can't afford to have large expenses being billed to this particular grant when we know that it's about to end, because we have to be able to show that the funds that we're spending, that it actually benefited during that period of performance. And that's what's going to be very important as we have to report out to the federal government. And if there's any salvage of materials, then we also have to report out on that too. And so we want to make sure that your inventory is right. We want to make sure that you understand where you're putting your dollars. And it's not just equipment, it's also supplies as well. So very important. Right now we're underexpended in both programs, Head Start and Early Head Start. And so we're really going to need your help in order to increase those expenditures. Our third grant, our Early Head Start Child Care Partnership Grant, is about $16.6 million, and we've expended about 3% of that grant. And so we have about 24 delegate agencies actually funded under CCP. I'm just going to ask you guys to make sure that you're communicating with your finance team, and go ahead and get those vouchers submitted for the program. This program, along with the expansion program, the year started December 1, 2020, and it goes all the way through November 30th, 2021. So this is a 12-month, though both of those programs are 12-month programs under those awards. But as you can see, the expenditures are low. And so I need your help in making sure that you're communicating with your staff on the finance side, but also on the program side to make sure that their needs are being met. And if budget revisions need to happen so you can move money, that's totally understandable. We need you to go ahead and just be planful about how you're going to move that money forward. And again, it's going to affect your cash flow, and we want to make sure that you guys are vouchering. I would say, for those who are out here doing it, everybody has their strategy. Often I see invoices come in at least every payroll cycle. So if you're paying your staff every 2 weeks, you may want to go ahead and submit an invoice to us every 2 weeks as well to make sure that you're keeping up with your cash flow needs. That's totally up to you. You don't have to wait to go ahead and bill a month at a time. If you want to go ahead and voucher every 2 weeks, you can definitely do that. And so that could be a conversation that you can have with your finance team about that. The next program is ECBG, which is PFA and PI combined. We received $81.2 million under that particular funding source. And so 2 programs, 1 funding source. And so we get the money, of course, from CPS, who gets it from ISB. That's what we have. Right now, I'm at 33% expended on that grant, and it ends July 30th. So I'm worried, I'm concerned that we're not going to be able to spend these funds. And so I need you guys to be able to show me that we can, right? And kind of goes into the conversation that I just mentioned if there are things that you need that are allowable to that particular grant and you need to move money around in order to make it happen, if there's payroll salvage, if you guys have had vacancies, understanding that, you know, if you have it on your budget and it's sitting there on a line that you're not going to utilize, I need you to be thinking now, right, about that payroll salvage and where you're going to put that payroll salvage in order to utilize it in your programs. We wouldn't want to see money just kind of go unspent, but at this point, we're at 33% expended for a grant that is 81.2 million. We're not in a good place. And so I'm calling on everybody who has a PFA or PI contract to go ahead and make sure that you're talking with your finance team, that you're talking with your program team, because you may need to move money around in order to spend it in other allowable categories, but do what you have to do. That way we can improve our spend rate on this particular grant. CCAP. We have a $21 million grant for child care assistance program, and we're at 2.4 million expended on that particular grant. We're at 12% expended. So not where we want to be. 12% is a long way off. If anybody is interested in getting CCAP through us, we do have a CCAP unit that you can reach out to. But if it's easier for you to contact me and say, Tiffany, hey, I'm interested in the child care assistance program. This is one of the programs that we, you know, we accept applications on a rolling basis. And so if somebody would like to get CCAP through us, we'd definitely be open to having those conversations and let you know what you need to do. But those are the expenditure rates across the board. It's low. It doesn't surprise me because we're also under-enrolled, right? We're under-enrolled in our programs. The only program that wasn't under-enrolled was PI home base. But of course, I don't look at PI home base in isolation. I look at prevention initiative altogether. So at this point, we are under-enrolled, you know, across all programs. And so this could also be affecting our expenditure rate as well. The non-federal match that's required on our federal grants, there was some information put out by HHS about the fact that grantees can get a waiver. I just wanted to let everyone know that most waiver requests we're going to be honoring because our funder is giving us the flexibility. We definitely will extend it to you. But one of the things I need everybody to understand is I need you to try, right, with non-federal match, just like we try with a lot of other programmatic things. I need you to try and, you know, try to make your match. If you can't make your match, that is totally understandable. And if you need to go ahead and seek a waiver from us, you can always submit a letter at least 2 months before that particular grant ends, asking for consideration of a waiver if we didn't already give any kind of blanket waivers or something like that. And so just wanted to kind of put that out there for everybody. We understand that there's some flexibility with the federal government, but we also want to be able to show that we're making every effort to go ahead and meet our non-federal match. And so that's one of the reasons why we will not approve matches at the beginning of a funding period, because we actually have to be able to show that we're making the effort in order to obtain our match. And when we can't, then we can consider the waiver. But if anybody has any questions about the non-federal match in kind, let me know. Just wanted to let everyone know that for the fiscal year 2021, there is a Head Start funding increase that was issued by the Office of Head Start. There will be a cost of living adjustment, and that cost of living adjustment will be for the permanent increase of salaries and also your salary scale. So even positions that are unfilled should still get that increase for COLA. It's very important. It's very important that we make sure that all Head Start staff, and when I say Head Start, I mean the plethora of Head Start programs, so Head Start, Early Head Start Child Care Partnership, and Early Head Start Expansion will be receiving the 1.22% COLA. We have not received our award letter yet from the Office of Head Start, but when we do get that, then we're able to go ahead and start setting up in our financial system for you guys to actually start to receive those awards. So we're excited. Those contracts will be increasing by 1.22%. If you have any questions about COLA, please let me know. The The next administrative update I wanted to mention, and I mentioned this last time, but we'll keep this kind of around just to remind everybody that the early bird preschool online application will be launching on April the 21st, 2021. And so we're working in partnership with Chicago Public Schools, and the preschool application, it is going to be for community-based programs and also school-based programs in one online system. So a potential or prospective parent has the flexibility to be able to apply for one of our community-based organizations, and at the same time they can also apply for Chicago Public Schools if that's what their choice is. And so we're excited about the preschool launch because just means new opportunities for the new school year. So we're excited about that, and we're definitely excited about change, right? And so and hopefully by the time we're ready to start in September, the pandemic will be that thing that we talked about that happened then, hopefully. With that being said, we'll go ahead and go on to the next slide. All right, so at this particular point, I just wanted to see if there's any questions. I'm going to take a look in the chat to see if I see any. We're ready to open it up if you guys have any. We want to make sure that we, okay. Marcia, thank you. Marcia said she loves the CSD updates. We're happy that you do. We realize that we put out a lot of information on a regular basis, and it's a lot. It is absolutely a lot. So we're glad that you do love it. We also ask with CSD updates for you to share them with your staff. I think it's important. Some people get them to their mailbox and they take a look at it, but we want to make sure that you're actually communicating that information out to staff, and that there's something in particular that you feel that a certain segment of your staff might benefit from, maybe call it out for them. If there's something that you wanted them to see in it, maybe there's some professional development, maybe there is some COVID-19 relief information. We try to, make this as impactful as we can when we send out those CSD updates. And so please use them and share them internally. Rita, you're asking about the attendance numbers. Attendance has been low. I believe we're at about 85%, Rita, but I don't have the data in front of me. I think last time I had the team pull a report, we were at we were below 85% for sure. We were below 85%. So we can definitely certainly kind of get you that information. I don't know if you wanted to know overall high level, or if you're worried about maybe your program, or if you're saying, Tiffany, hey, and compared to, my attendance information, I wanted to bump that against kind of what the citywide lens is. Let me know exactly what you're looking for. Send me an email, Rita, and we can certainly accommodate that. Catherine, you asked about the period for the GEARS contracts. The GEARS contracts will be January 2021 through June 30th, 2021. So just the first 6 months of this year for those GEARS contracts. Hey, Cindy, you said, can you confirm the COLA will need to be retroactive to December 2020? Absolutely, Cindy. The COLA will need to be retroactive. When the Office of Head Start kind of puts out the information, it always starts at the beginning of our fiscal year, and just so happened for all of those federal programs that we talked about, Head Start, Early Head Start, CCP, and also expansion, they all had a start date of December 1, 2020. So it will be going back and will cause us to have expenditures then still in 2020. So the city won't be able to close out their fiscal year for 2020 until we can account for those expenses as well. But that's a good question, Cindy. It will need to be retroactive to the beginning of the fiscal year. Betty, you're asking about self-assessment and any dates for that. I have Madeline Hania on the line. Madeline, Tom, can you unmute Madeline? I wanted to see if she can address the self-assessment dates question. While you're doing that, I'm going to go on to the next question.
Hi, yes, Madeline, you just you need to click on your microphone and have the microphone turn green. There you go. Your microphone's green. I don't know if we can. She may be having difficulty using her computer microphone. Yeah, we can't hear her.
Yeah. Madeline, if you can just go ahead and put it in the chat. The question is just asking about the self-assessment and when are the dates for the self-assessment. And so Betty wanted to know. And so, yeah, if you can go ahead and type it into the chat, I can go ahead and share out. Thank you. Teresa wants to know about the website for the vaccine rollout. And then you put for the staff. And so as you know that we're in the 1B category for our early learning programs, including our home base, our doulas, as well as our home visitors as well is included in that. And any of our staff working at our early childhood facilities, they would be included in that. And so if you need more information, Teresa, on the 1B category or the rollout that that the local government has for it, I can certainly send you some information. But we're in the 1B category period right now, and so we're kind of well on our way as kind of being that group. One of the things I wanted to say about vaccinations, though, is that we just have a vaccine shortage. I mean, with the number of people who are in the 1B category at this particular time, if everyone in that 1B category wanted to get vaccinated, it wouldn't be enough supplies in order to accommodate. And so I'm just going to ask, I guess, for the good of the public, is that we are patient through this process, as we understand that there are some communities that are being targeted, but overall we want to make sure that everybody who would like to receive the vaccination, that there's an opportunity to do so in an orderly fashion. So just be patient. But Teresa, if there's more information that you need, feel free to go ahead and email me at tiffany.junkins@cityofchicago.org. Ken is asking about the TA sessions for COLA and the grant closeouts. Will there be any TA sessions? Yeah, there will be, Ken. I don't have any dates for that, but I think it's a great idea, especially for grant closeouts. COLA, we can certainly do something informative around that, so that folks understand how they should be applying for COLA. Having to complete that grant. It's a whole grant application process, and so we'll make sure that we go ahead and get something on the books for that. All right. Scott, I believe it would be exceedingly helpful if a subject matter expert could explain the kids count data, which suggests the majority of our children are woefully unprepared for kindergarten. If we are going to effectively move the needle favorably, we need to understand how the evaluation is made. I can talk to our partners, Scott, at CPS, and maybe they'd be able to go ahead and have someone. The kids' data, a lot of our Black and Brown children are faring low. I think we ran some numbers. I think it was about 15% and 23% for kids. And so we definitely have a lot of ground to cover there, but I think the idea about having a subject matter expert really talk about that data. Let me go ahead and see what I can do with our partners at Chicago Public Schools about helping us out.
I just want to jump in, Tiffany, and say, this is Tasha, everybody. I am loving these ideas, and I also want to make sure that we go back to, emailing me. Please let me know. I know you guys have wonderful ideas. You have needs that you want addressed as far as professional development. The quality team working with operations and administration can definitely make sure that we get these on the books. However, we need to know. So please, I am open and available, willing to hear all of your needs, and then I will collate this information and roll it out to our team as a whole, and we will definitely make sure that we apply these to our new learning series. We know that we are not addressing everything that you guys need, all the topics that you guys need, and we want to take our lead from you. So, but we have to have this information, and we want to be specific and targeted as to what professional development do you feel will be helpful in supporting you guys. So please make sure that it was placed in the chat to really email me, latasha.white@cityofchicago.org. So I will compile this information. We will create a plan, get all the information from you guys of what you need specifically. And then we want to do this in a way that is really accessible for you guys. So I may ask some follow-up questions, but this is a great time for us to be collaborating and really determining what information is needed right now, how to prioritize it, and how to disseminate this information. Thanks, Tiffany.
Thank you. Someone asked a question about early Head Start. The enrollment numbers that were shown, was it inclusive of home visiting as well? And so it was. The early Head Start number, we're funded for 2,162, and so that is a combination of center-based as well as home-based programs. And so we didn't differentiate how we did with the prevention initiative numbers. We just counted that all together. And for our funding purposes, it's been making sense for us to do it that way. But if you ever have any questions or you need more information regarding home visiting portion, just let me know. Okay, let me see. What's the next question? Don, you mentioned something about a CNA dates or guidelines. Not really sure what CNA. When I think of CNA, I think of Certified Nursing Assistant, so I do apologize. I know it probably stands for something, but I'm not sure what you mean when you say CNA. Maybe community needs assessment. Maybe that's it. Let me know in the box if that is correct, but if that's the case, we are working with our vendor to go ahead and help us with our community needs data. As a matter of fact, I believe we've actually published, I think we've either published our community needs data or done, or we're about to. And so definitely reach out to me because I believe we were going to actually post that community assessment data online. And so if we haven't done that already, that'd be a great reminder that you can kind of give me. But yeah, go ahead and email me at tiffany.junkins@cityofchicago.org regarding the community needs assessment. And we can go ahead and make sure that we're getting that information out to all. Hey, San O is saying all of our staff received the first dose of the vaccine from the city. Yay! You know, there's a lot of vaccine hesitancy out there. And so thank you, San, for sharing. Really appreciate that. We understand that there is, some hesitancy in some of our communities. And so I'm hoping that those types of things are being addressed. We did put some information in the CSD update about vaccine hesitancy, especially in the Black and Brown communities. So make sure that you use the CSD updates, please, as a resource to go ahead and make sure you're sharing with others. We appreciate that. Matilda wants to know, how can we receive mental health or social emotional support in the classroom? I'm going to ask to see if Latasha, if you or your staff wanted to speak to that particular question about mental health or social emotional support in the classroom.
I'll pull Will in just a second, but a lot of the trainings, Teach Strong trainings that we talked about focuses on interactions and so the social emotional aspect of it. And so again, I want to make sure that we are paying attention to those deadlines and taking advantage of the resources that are here right now for us. But specifically, again, if you have a specific, training that you need specific to your needs, then please feel free to reach out to me. We can talk about them because there are many aspects to social emotional development, and we do have lots of trainings, going on right now. One thing that I can say is that we are working on a new professional development calendar that we will be rolling out to you guys really soon, so that you can get a wide picture of all of the professional development trainings that are going on right now. But as far as the intricate details of the TNTA professional development goals and trainings that we have, I'm going to ask if William will jump in and do some more sharing. But I want to continue to tell y'all, I cannot support you guys if it's something that we're not offering, if you're not communicating to us. So please feel free. I am always available to talk to you by phone, to respond by email. I really want to know, where we're falling short as it relates to your needs and how can you fix that? How can you bridge those gaps? So William, you want to talk to that?
Yeah, thank you, LaTasha. So again, just speaking to our delegates, your first line of contact is your operations team, your monitoring team. I do know that on operations end, we do have a mental health consultant. And so I believe it's with SGA. I actually want to go to my colleague B and have her shoot out a little more, because with mental health and any other supplementary supports that our sites need, it do come through the monitoring team, and then they then refer them to quality, and that's how we do those more individualized TNTA, or we even plan citywide trainings as it relates to the needs of the communities, as you just spoke of, LaTasha. So let me just go ahead and shoot that out to BB. Would you like to go ahead and take over and talk about your supports as our front line?
Yes, thank you, Will. And you got it on the money. Contact her monitoring team leads. SGA is the grantee's mental health consultant. So if there's something that you need, if it's technical assistance, or even if it's training, your lead is the person that you will go through. And then in turn, we will get that information over to Will and his team. Thanks.
Awesome. Well, teamwork makes the dream work. So you guys heard it there. But again, if there's something that's not there, please let me know. It is my job to make sure that we are functioning operations and quality and development together. And I plan to do my job. So reach out if there's anything that you don't see or that you need. I am also available, but please follow the protocol that they have in place. But if there's something that's not in the TNTA, then I want to address it, and I want to make sure that we pivot quickly to allow you guys to have access to that. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Absolutely. You said teamwork makes the dream work. Absolutely. Madeline wanted me to mention that the self-assessment due date for our delegate agencies is April the 16th. And so we'll be sending out guidance in the CSD update in the coming week. So next week we should have something out to you guys regarding self-assessment. But April 16th is the day for delegate agencies. There is a question, hey Scott, about supplemental funding requests for our contracts ending June the 30th, 2021. So at this time, Scott, I don't know why anybody would need a supplemental. And don't get me wrong, everybody's situation is going to be different. But at this time, I don't know why anybody wouldn't need a supplemental when expenditure rates are so low across all of my delegate agencies billing. And so maybe there's something in-house that I don't know, but feel free to talk to me about what those needs are. I can tell you some of the supplemental funding requests that we funded in the past, we're not going to be honoring. For instance, anybody who wants to do any playgrounds at this particular time, that's not in our best interest. We got a lot of snow on the ground. that kind of construction probably couldn't even start until maybe April or May. And what is the benefit then to that period of performance in which the playground was actually built? So we won't be approving any playground request or anything like that, just because it doesn't make any sense for the benefit of the program in the year that we're funded. That really is going to be for future benefit. And so, you know, if there are playground needs, I'm not saying that you can't tell us about them. We want to hear it from you. But at the same time, I don't imagine us being able to fund any as we're getting ready to close out the grant for June 30th, 2021. But yeah, but please feel free to let us know what the needs are, and we can definitely let you know what we can do. But regarding supplementals, yeah, I mean, I guess it'll be on a case-by-case basis, but I have to look at your current spend levels because it makes no sense for us to give you additional money if you can't spend the, you know, the base grant that we, you know, that we provide. So you can definitely have an offline conversation about any needs that you kind of anticipate. Latasha, they want to know if you can repeat your email. I'm gonna ask that can you put it in the chat so that everybody can see your email address?
Sure.
All right. There is a question about the IEIN number needed for teachers. It says, is it needed for assistants as well? I'm assuming teacher assistants as well. And so the answer is no. The IEIN number is only needed for teachers. So the assistants, no. LaShonda wants to know if we're going to, what is going to happen if DFSS does not get the award? Where does that leave centers with Head Start and Early Head Start programs? So LaShonda, I think that this is a great question. I think it's a fair question. And so if we don't get awarded, I don't want to speak in the negative sense. I happen to think that we are going to get awarded, right? But at the same time, that decision is definitely made outside of me. And so we'll have to go ahead and see what happens. With the rich history that the city has in Chicago, I don't really foresee us not getting the grant award. However, regardless as to what happens, if it's going to be, the same amount, if it's going to be a reduced award, if it's going to be no award, the city will be prepared to pivot and will be prepared to go ahead and work with all of our Head Start and Early Head Start programs so that we can do proper grant closeouts, for our program. And so, there is a process and there's a plan, to any program or any site that has to close. And so, if we have to do this on a more widespread level, it'll be all hands on deck to make sure that we're doing what we have to do as major funders in this area. But I anticipate us getting this particular grant. So I'm going to go ahead and just remain hopeful about that. And we'll keep guys updated as we get more information. But at this time, there's been no determinations made about the recompetition. So we're patiently awaiting. There's a question about professional development needs and what is our intentions with PAT to teaching strategies goal for home visitors. So Latasha, Will, I'm not sure if you guys wanted to talk about the intentional connections for parents as teachers and teaching strategies goal for home visitors.
I'm gonna roll that one over to William. He is more closely related to that work specific to them. So William, can you address the parent curriculum and teaching strategies goal?
Yeah, and the question is specific to home visitors.
Home visiting. Okay, thank you, Tiffany, for that clarity. Yeah, so I do know that in the past, many delegates were able to utilize two different curriculums. That's PAT as well as our Baby Talk curriculum. And so at this point in time, because we are in the middle of this program year, we are currently still looking into this to bridge that gap between our PAT and our Baby Talk. And as DFSS, we are going to promote one curriculum. Tiffany, and again, maybe I may be speaking over the fence, but as it talks about contractual agreements, you know, we are still in the works again with dedicating it to PAT or Baby Talk due to it being an RFP process, or is it a non-compete type of process? So as of right now, I don't have clarity to that. I do know that as our home-based curriculum, as a home visiting curriculum, it has been our PAT. That is what we have been working with the ALMS, previously the ALMS, in providing for our staff, and that's what we look to continue having across the city of Chicago. But again, I cannot make a definite answer as to right now the integration, because as of right now we don't have that contract approved yet, either with PAT or Baby Talk. But we are asking that you continue to provide whatever curriculum-based model you were using prior to the pandemic and to the delays in which operations have seen and contracts have seen. We ask that you just maintain that curriculum.
Thank you, William. And I want to say too, I mean, because the question was really talking about the professional development needs and kind of us being intentional, those intentional connections between PAT and TSG for the home visitor. If there's something specific, Ms. Gonzalez, that you need from us in this area, feel free to give us a call or send an email so that we're able to go ahead and address your concerns appropriately. It says, let's see. Any other questions? Let me see. Okay, Dina had mentioned that she's been working closely with SGA, and they have been wonderful for the students, parent and staff supports. It's really great to hear, really, really great to hear. So we're glad that those supports that SGA provides have been working out for you and your organization. I think I've made it through the questions. I wanted to go ahead and stop here just to see if there's any other questions. There's a question about if the city doesn't get the award for the competitive grant, do agencies need to have a contingency plan? Whenever you're in any kind of competitive process, you should always have a contingency plan, because as you guys know, that's the whole purpose of competition, right? Is there is going to be a competition, and it's not necessarily going to work out in everyone's favor who applied. And so we recognize that. We know that you guys recognize that. The city has had a monopoly on the Head Start program for over 50 years. It's been a long time. And, you know, as we're kind of going into this next phase of what this is going to look like and trying to look at it from the other end, the city of Chicago does not expect to be the only grantee in this space. And so we do expect that there will be other grantees for Head Start in the city of Chicago. And we're going to be looking forward to collaborating and working with any new grantees under this space in any capacity that we can. At the same time, even though that's what we're anticipating, we also anticipate that we're going to be the lion's share of what Head Start and Early Head Start is offering in the city of Chicago. We don't know this definitively, and we're hoping that everybody, when it comes to competition, that you do have contingency plans, that you are talking with your board about possibilities, the what ifs and things like that. You should definitely do your due diligence in that space, as you know, the award is not promised to us and we can't promise it to you. But it hasn't came yet. We're remaining very hopeful that we're going to have a lion's share of what that grant offers. But we will see. It's yet to be determined. On that note, I'm going to go ahead and say I just want to thank you guys. I want to thank you each and every day for the work that you do out there in our various communities, especially during the pandemic, where things have been especially hard. And we want to make sure that we're here to address your concerns, Latasha had mentioned that she wants to hear directly from our delegate agencies to try and figure out what more supports that we can provide for you. And we want to hear from you. And so please, by all means, reach out to us if you have any questions. If you needed more clarification around some of the questions that were asked here, feel free, reach out to us. We definitely want to hear from you, but thank you, and thank you, and thank you. We can't thank you enough for partnering with us to do this amazing work that you do day in and day out. You guys have a great day. Thank you so much. All right, bye-bye.